What is up, diecast collectors? This is 9446 Network back with another diecast review, and today we got our first beer wagon of the year. This is Kevin Harvick's 2022 Busch Light Ford Mustang for Stewart-Haas Racing, and Kevin Harvick is back in the studio again. We reviewed his gear wrench car twice because of that two-car review with the Mahindra Chase Briscoe, and of course the Authentics version of that car. So without further ado, we're going to review it. As you can tell, this was on a base. It was an alcoholic car, and the box got destroyed during me unboxing it. But other than that, here's the paint scheme itself, and my, does Busch Light bring some of the most detailed paint schemes in the Cup Series. And because we're on the next-gen car, there is a lot more real estate to add details to this thing. And what I really like about this diecast in particular is the metallic finish that they painted it. So it looks a lot like it's blue from far, but it actually is more on the silver side, but with the decals that have the blue on it wrapped on top. And yeah, that back diffuser is pretty destroyed, this part of it at least, because when I was undoing it from the base, I used a hammer to undo it. So yeah, that diffuser is definitely seen better days. But other than that, the top of it looks pretty good. I was able to keep this in original quality at least. So without further ado, we're going to get this diecast review started. You got number 4, Stewart-Haas Racing. You got Ford right there with the Mustang front end. You got Busch Light, brewed in the USA. Anheuser-Busch St. Louis M.O. right there with the little R trademark thing. You got Ford again. You got the Ford again on the windshield banner with the Harvick. You got Sunoco right there. You have Goodyear NASCAR Cup Series number 4, Busch Light. You got Kevin Harvick's name right there. You got Ford, Mobil 1, Haas, Hunt Brothers, and Rush Truck Centers. You got Busch right there with the Mobil 1 logos. You have the Busch Light right there. Gear wrench. Let's see what else we got. Hunt Brothers. Pristine Auctions is on this car. Wow, that's interesting. You got Subways right there. You have the Busch Light, and there is a chip on the spoiler. How did that happen? That was not me this time. That is actually from Lionel. I actually saw that when I unboxed it already. So I kind of knew what I was in for with this paint scheme. You got Busch Light right there, Mobil 1, Ford, Michigan license plate with the 2022 registration sticker on it. Got number 4 right there with the exhausts. You got Busch Light, which is undoubtedly crooked. Got Harvick right there, Mobil 1. And now it's time for the paint scheme. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, this thing is spray painted metallic. It has got that metallic finish on it. And it looks a little bit more on the silver side than it does the blue. Considering that there's blue decals wrapped on top of it. And somehow, when they were wrapping the paint scheme on top, it must have had some slight transparency to it. Because the blue actually also picks up the metallic backdrop, as you can see as I look around this diecast. It's even on the Mobil 1. I mean, even the Mobil 1 is decked out in that metallic. So the metallic is literally all over this thing. So if you're a fan of metallic diecast, which I am, this is a pretty good release. But we're going to look at the number first. You got the dark blue shadow, the silver outline, and the white number fill-in all across the car. And the paint scheme, it's not really changed that much other than the biggest detail of what's on the side. So we're going to look at that later. So in the front, it starts out with that very, very nice blue, bright metallic blue on there, right? And of course, it has the mountain backdrop, which also has a different bit of fades to it. It's like trees and mountains, which looks really nice as the backdrop. And of course, if you look throughout the rest of the paint scheme, you can see the side has it as well. You have the mountains peeking up across the bush. And even underneath it, it still has a little bit of trees on it. And it has that metallic blue still. And of course, the new detail, if you're wondering where that's at, you can see the outline to the template. Yeah, these Haas cars have a template of where they're going to put the contingency sponsors, guys. So you have a thin dark blue outline that wraps all the way over. Got Mobil 1. And where it has the Mobil 1 and all those other logos, it is decked out in the metallic, but it's got that space, like, right? There's no mountain detail on top of that. It's just that generic silver with the sponsors on top of it. It just kind of separates the paint scheme from where the contingency sponsors are. So that is a new template. You've seen this with the other paint schemes, including the Mahindra. All the paint schemes are like that. They're all going to have that. Even the Custer and the Amarola are going to have that. And there is a bit of a chip on the number 4 right there. You can see it's kind of scraped off a little bit. That was not me this time. Once again, that was from Lionel. That number 4 was screwed up like this, so that's just fantastic. The whole top of it is still that silver color, as well as the deck lid of it. And the back is all silver, but you do have a little bit of the paint scheme of the mountains and the trees, a little bit over the taillights, and that's really about it. This paint scheme looks really awesome. Now, the spoiler is black and the splitter is black. I do wonder what it would look like if you just painted it the same silver. You could have a giant silver spoiler, but that's clearly not what they were thinking with this one. But yeah, another big detail that I really like about this being on the next gen is that it has the Busch Light can on there. It's not just the logo of Busch with the multiple H's. You do have the actual Busch Light can, which is really cool. And oh man, we got a paint chip on this pillar. These things are never put on right. And of course, the gear wrench logo has a bit of a weird blue outline to it. Let me see if I can get a closer look at that, if the camera will allow me to. Look at the word wrench. There is some type of blue residue on top of it, or something, a double print. Or not even a double print. Maybe they're trying to put white, but that gear wrench logo is so small, you're probably not going to get it right. That's a hard decal to put on, I'll give it that. Harvick's name also has a little bit of a weird blue outline to it. It's like whenever they do small decals, they have these really thick outlines to it. It's not always the case, but it definitely is on this one. But other than that, the metallic finish of it, just spectacular. Now, the chrome rims, would they have done chrome or silver rims, this thing would have probably popped out a lot more. But Haas, all of them run the black wheels. The black next-gen wheels. And the black does kind of complement it a little bit because it's, you know, you got the dark wheels and then the bright paint scheme on top. It's not overkill. It actually does look pretty decent. And that beginning of the A-pillar, yeah, that has some quirks to it. That little decal right there, as you can see, where they would usually put NASCAR race car, which they're not even putting there anymore because the race cars are incomplete. That thing definitely looks like a shoe. I mean, look at that. You look at the angle of that. Look how funky that looks. Like, if you look at the other side, it looks fine. That's how it's supposed to look. That's the way it's intended to. This here, though, yeah, that looks like a shoe. That doesn't look like a beginning of an A-pillar. Wow. Other than that, folks, the paint scheme, I really like this one. Like I said, I'm not a Harvick fan, but these paint schemes, the detail of them are absolutely immaculate. But yeah, you're not going to see this in the Authentics line because it's a alcoholic diecast, so if you want this diecast, you're going to have to get it in either the Gold Series or the metal chassis and rubber tires. The metal underbody and the rubber tires and the plastic rims. So yeah, there's 2 ways to get it, and this is one of 2 ways. So here's the front of the car. I do kind of miss, I forgot to point this out in other Mustang reviews, they don't put the name Mustang under the grill anymore, which is really sad. I really wish they kept that. That was a really good detail to have. But they took it away for some reason. They didn't even put Cobra, which is, by the way, what this Mustang is trying to be, even though it has a GT back to it, as I mentioned in the next-gen overview. So here's the front of the car, got a piece of decal. Oh my god, these decals literally stick to your fingers. Anyways, here's the front of the car. Here's the hood. It's the right side. It's the back. It's the deck lid. It's the roof, the left side, and the underbody. 2022 Ford Mustang under license. And that is going to be the Kevin Harvick 2022 Next Gen Busch Light paint scheme for Stewart-Haas Racing's Kevin Harvick. So that's going to do it for this diecast review. What do you guys think of this diecast? Once again, if the YouTube algorithm doesn't shut down the comment section, tell us what you guys think of this diecast. In my opinion, it is a really good diecast to get due to the metallic finishes on this car all throughout the whole thing. Even some of the sponsors are covered up in that metallic. So whether that's accurate or not, it still looks good. It is a spectacular one to get. So the other Kevin Harvick ones, like the Apple and all those, we haven't seen those yet. We're still in the beginning of the next-gen era when it comes to diecast. So this is going to be the first Busch beer one. So as more beer wagons and energy drink wagons come out throughout the year, they are going to continue to have the base, unfortunately. So yeah, don't be very careful when you're undoing it, or you'll damage the middle part of the diffuser, like me. So that is going to be it for this review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next diecast review. And always remember to make sure you know what you're doing when you're putting decals on your diecast.